A wise man once said a movie is only good as its ending, and I know it's true because I actually found that in a fortune cookie. But boy oh boy is the ending to Netflix's latest thriller, The Strays, gonna make you wish you were abandoned by your parents.
I've abandoned my child!
The story follows Neve, which derives from the Latin word nivis, meaning snow, an apt name considering this is a woman who literally wants to be white. Around the year 2003, she decides to leave her poverty-stricken family, including her 2 children, to start a new life in an affluent white neighborhood. So if you want to follow a completely unlikable character for about an hour and a half, this is a great story for you. Although Neve later tells us she was in an abusive relationship, hence why she left, she makes no effort to contact her kids. So not only did she leave them, but left them with an abusive father. She could also be completely lying. As we'll find out throughout the story, Neve lies and keeps secrets more than my ex-girlfriend. Neve's shunning of her children parallels the shunning of her black identity. She wears a wig to hide her hair, gloves to hide her skin, practices a posh accent, marries a white man, doesn't like her daughter's hair in cornrows, and as her son Sebastian puts it,
thinks she's white, never says anything about her past, anything black off limits.
This is a really interesting concept, a black woman wanting to become white, but The Strays never delves beyond the superficial. What about Nev's psychology makes her want to be this way? Was there some sort of past trauma which caused her to have this outlook on life? Unfortunately, the only reason we get for her wanting to join white suburbia is this.
I want more. Is it wrong to want more?
It just makes her greedy. She's abandoning her children for her own personal gain, and at least for me, makes her character not worth rooting for. The juxtaposition between black and white is brought into perspective with the arrival of Neve's 2 abandoned children some 16 years later. When Neve is on the screen, we get excerpts of classical music, while with her children, a mix of rap and southern hymns. Her children, Carl and Dion, crash her fundraising gala, which ironically is for impoverished children in Africa. This turns Neve's world upside down, and unbeknownst to her family, she offers to pay her kids off so they'll go away. So if we didn't hate her enough, we can add paying off the kids you abandoned to your list. There's also this hilarious scene where she tries to justify abandoning them by essentially saying fathers do it all the time, why not her?
I did what I had to do. What fathers do all the time.
Bruh.
Now, The Strays actually did one thing I thought was pretty cool. The whole movie is split into different sections where you see the story played out from different perspectives. The first is Nev's, then Carl and Dion's, followed by Cheryl, who was Neve's real name before she changed it, and finally, family reunion. But these different perspectives are somewhat convoluted. I kept wondering why Carl and Dion didn't knock on Neve's door and approach her about the abandonment. Instead, they devised this elaborate scheme involving getting jobs close to her family, befriending her kids, and sending toys from their childhood to her. Is this meant to scare her? Are they here for revenge or for answers? It's never really explained, and the whole thing just becomes a confusing mess. Not to mention Sebastian, Neve's son, befriends Carl, the new school janitor, who gives him cigarettes and drugs. In what world are you going off into the woods all alone with this school's janitor? But things really break down in the film's final act. Carl and Dion break into Neve's house and hold the family hostage. Not only is this ridiculous, but it also goes against the very thing the film is fighting against, racial stereotypes. Earlier in the movie, we get this scene between the white suburbanites where they discuss the topic of white flight, in which white people flee urban areas because they're quote-unquote uncultured. Yet Carl and Dion are framed as uncultured, smoking weed, destroying the hotel room, giving alcohol and cigarettes to minors, breaking and entering, headbutting, threatening people with a machete, forcing a kidnapped family to play a twisted game of Scrabble. The list goes on. Are we supposed to be rooting for them? Are we supposed to be sympathetic to their plight when they commit violence against people like Ian, who himself was a victim of Neve's lies? There is no one in this movie worth rooting for. Which brings me to the ending. So Carl and Dion break into the house and hold Neve's family hostage, forcing them to order Chinese food and play Scrabble, which for me sounds like a pretty decent night. Not only do we not know how they plan to get away with this, but we're never quite sure what their intention is. Are they here to kill them, get money, scare them? I'm still clueless. The front door is also open, and any one of them could just run out at any time and scream for help. Carl even lets Neve answer the door to pick up the Chinese food, and she doesn't even ask the delivery guy for help. Not to mention, how did they order Uber Eats from the landline when all their phones were destroyed? For some reason, Carl takes Ian, Neve's husband, into the weight room and has him do bench presses where it's implied he's killed by the weight. no real reason why he makes him do this, especially considering Ian himself is a victim of Neve's lies and deceit. What does Carl have against Ian? Now, what does Neve do as all this is going on? She just leaves. That's the end of the movie. She just fucking leaves. She abandons her new children just like she did her old ones at the beginning. Now, I know what the writer is doing here. They probably thought in their mind that this ending is profound, but what it really leaves us is a movie without an ending. It's also a movie that doesn't really know what it's saying about complex issues like abandonment, race, or motherhood. Like, if you were to ask me what I thought the theme of the movie is, I don't know, I guess I'd say don't abandon your children, but that's a pretty damn weak theme, especially the way it's executed in this film. So the Strays kinda sucked, but what did you think? Should we abandon this movie? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everybody. For more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
I've abandoned my child!